The United States has quietly crossed a threshold, one that was predicted for years, dismissed as paranoia, and now implemented without a sound. FINCEN, the U.S. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, has just received authorization to deploy real-time AI models that monitor, score, and analyze purchases across millions of bank accounts. Not monthly reports, not suspicious activity flagged by humans, but a live, continuous behavioral map of economic life. And this changes everything. Because money is not just numbers on a screen. It is a reflection of intent, of habits, of identity. When an AI watches how you spend, it learns who you are, what you plan, and what you might one day attempt. For the first time, the US government can algorithmically detect pre-criminal financial behavior, and the public barely noticed. The new rule is simple on paper. Banks and payment processors must provide structured, machine-readable data streams to FinCEN. Not summaries, streams. Every transaction becomes a signal. Every deviation becomes a pattern. Every pattern becomes a risk score. The system sorts citizens into categories: normal, anomalous, potentially illicit, and requires escalation. No warrant, no accusation, just probability. This is the evolution of financial surveillance in 3 steps. First, collect everything. Second, analyze automatically. Third, intervene preventively. And step 3 is no longer theoretical. FinCEN's new framework allows automatic alerts to federal agencies when risk thresholds are crossed. A person can be flagged without knowing it. Their accounts can be frozen before they understand what triggered the event. Their digital presence can be cross-referenced with immigration records, travel logs, corporate databases, and even social media footprints. This is not a conspiracy. This is an administrative document, approved, activated. The justification is predictable. Combat drug trafficking, stop terrorism financing, fight money laundering. Nobody argues against those goals. But the mechanism built to achieve them does not discriminate between criminals and citizens. It only sees data points. When an AI monitors a population, it doesn't look for crime. It looks for statistical deviations, behavior outside the norm, patterns that correlate with previous cases. Human context becomes irrelevant, and this is where pre-crime begins. Imagine buying tools at unusual hours, or sending multiple small transfers abroad, or withdrawing cash more often than your demographic average, or buying cryptocurrency during a volatile period. Each action is trivial alone, but combined, the model may classify you as elevated risk. Not because you are guilty, but because the algorithm learned that similar clusters of behavior once preceded illegal activity. The model does not understand intent. It only predicts likelihood, and prediction is now enough to trigger intervention. The shift is enormous. For decades, financial surveillance was reactive. A crime happened, banks were asked to provide information, investigators built a case. Now, the surveillance runs continuously, independent of events, independent of suspicion, independent of human oversight. This is the birth of real-time economic policing. And FinCEN is only the first layer. Once the infrastructure exists, other agencies will connect to it. The IRS, Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, private fraud detection networks, insurance companies looking for behavioral risk, future AI credit scoring systems. Once data flows, more institutions will request access. And the public will never vote on this. It will happen through technical integration, not political debate. This new system also eliminates anonymity in digital payments. Even purchases that were once considered low risk are now part of the behavioral graph. Location, time, type of merchant, purchase frequency. Combined, they reveal patterns far more intimate than tax records or bank statements. Financial behavior is psychological behavior, and AI is extraordinarily good at reading psychology. This is why the new rule has global implications. Because once the US deploys this model, other countries will follow. The EU will justify it through anti-fraud measures. The UK through anti-terrorism legislation. China already runs a version of it, integrated into social credit scoring. India is experimenting with biometric-linked economic oversight. The trend is universal. If a government can monitor digital money, it will. And digital money is becoming unavoidable. As cash disappears, economic autonomy disappears with it. If all transactions are traceable, then all intent becomes traceable. If all intent is measurable, then all intent becomes governable. And once intent can be governed, freedom becomes conditional. The transition will feel gradual. People will not wake up one morning under financial authoritarianism. Instead, they will adapt step by step. First, banks will use AI to detect fraud. Then governments will use it to prevent crime. Then private companies will use it to assign risk levels. Then social and political behaviors will be quietly integrated into economic scores. What begins as monitoring transactions will end as monitoring citizens. The infrastructure is already here. FINCEN has simply activated the next stage. The irony is that the system will work brilliantly. AI is exceptional at spotting anomalies. It will catch real criminals. It will reduce fraud. It will save billions. And these successes will justify further expansion. Surveillance grows best when it is effective. But efficiency has a price. An algorithm that cannot be reasoned with. A threshold that cannot be appealed. A risk score that no human ever reviewed. A freeze that happens instantly without explanation. A digital identity, permanently marked by statistical suspicion. This is the future of economic governance, not laws, models, not intent, probability, not innocence. Risk. And risk is no longer something you manage. It is something assigned to you. The US has entered a new era, AI-driven economic pre-crime. And in the coming years, this system will expand from millions of accounts to hundreds of millions. Then to every financial institution. Then to every country that chooses security over uncertainty. People imagine dystopias as sudden collapses. But the real dystopias grow quietly in regulatory updates, incremental permissions, and AI integrations that nobody understands until it's too late. The line has been crossed, and money, the most fundamental layer of modern life, is now watched, interpreted, and judged by an algorithm that never sleeps. The question is simple. If financial freedom requires privacy, what happens when privacy disappears? This transmission ends here. The next one is already forming. Stay aware and subscribe to Remain in the Signal.